Good evening and welcome to Banana Slug News. I'm Novella Janelza.
And I'm Shelly Nigham. It's the end of the year, and you know what that means. Your last slice of greasy wonders at Joe's, your last final, your last hike up Merrill, and sadly, your last chance to kick it with us on BSN this year. With so many farewells, there's one thing we're still looking forward to.
I know I'm definitely looking forward to walking across the stage in June. As a lit major, I've always wondered what the life of a biology student is really like here at UCSC. Many may never know, but those majoring in the biological sciences are struggling to compete with the expectations and rigorous curriculum of the department's new standards. We may be number one for RNA research, but striving for number one in class ranking seems to be getting harder and harder. Here's Shelly Nigham for a closer look at this bio controversy.
I spend about average at least 15 hours a week studying. I spend a lot of time studying. I don't really have a life. Every day I spend probably at least 5 to 6 hours in the library studying.
Schedules are intense, with students taking at least 15 units every quarter, and to some, socializing is not an option.
I do research in Dave Feldheim's lab. It's really hard, it's really rigorous. On top of that, I also take a full load of 15 plus units every quarter. I mean, it's time consuming, but it's fun.
First of all, I took organic chemistry, bio 20A, which is pretty hard, and math 22, and research, and OChem lab. That's a lot of units. How many units is that? That's 22 units. Okay, so I would wake up, go to class, go to the library, in between classes, then stay in the library until it closed, until what, 11:45? And then I would go to do research, and I would stay doing research until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, go home, sleep, repeat the same thing over and over and over again. Even on the weekends, I would be in lab really, really late at night, carrying out all the experiments and all that good stuff. And it was very, very stressful. I had no free time. I could never go home. I could never see my friends.
The student-to-faculty ratio is increasing, making coursework even harder, and many are putting the blame on the teachers.
The teachers, they totally think that their class is the most important. Every single teacher thinks that. So you have 3 classes, operative classes that you're all the teachers are saying, you need to dedicate at least 3 hours studying to this a day. And you have so many other classes to take care of. And I think they put a little pressure, too much pressure, honestly. You can't start weeding people out just because campus isn't equipped with, the things that you need. You need teachers. They should hire more teachers. You really should. I think it's fair that if you want to do something in life, they're gonna hold you back because they're not ready. I think that's a little unfair.
A rewarding career in the near future is definitely well worth the wait. For Sonia and many other biology students at UCSC, sometimes sleep is not an option.
You see these circles? Yeah, I know you can see them. I know you can see them. They're right there. Yes, that's from being a biology student and studying. And yeah, I'm kind of a loser, but you know what? Whatever. Oh, one time I got locked in the library too because I was studying there really late on a Friday night. Okay, Friday night I was sitting there really late. I got locked in there because, I wasn't paying attention and the library closed and I was like, what am I supposed to do? So I had to call campus security. It was a big long thing, but that's life of a bio student.
Speaking of biology, the new Ortho-Evra birth control patch is causing quite a stir around campus. To find out more, let's go to Paulina.
My name is Paulina Castro reporting for the BSN News, and I'm here to give you guys a story about the Ortho-Evra patch and its consequences. Here, I quote from the Mercury News. For years, Johnson & Johnson obscured evidence that its popular Ortho-Evra birth control patch delivered much more estrogen than standard birth control pills, potentially increasing the risk of blood clots and strokes, according to internal company documents, end quote. So let's see the story. I interviewed Sherry Soven, a patient care coordinator at UC Santa Cruz, and she gave us more information about the Ortho-Evra patch.
The Ortho-Evra patch was really a great idea. The concept of it, to not have to remember to take a pill every day, was really good, and the fact that when you put the patch on, there's sort of a steady stream of hormones that gets absorbed rather than up and down, like when you take a pill each day, the amount of hormones goes up and down on a regular basis. So in concept, it was really a good idea. The main serious problem with it is that there's actually more estrogen absorbed from the patch, 60% more estrogen a woman receives than if she takes a birth control pill. Women have absorbed much more estrogen and therefore have had more what we call cardiovascular events, blood clots in their legs, or a blood clot that drops off a little piece of that blood clot goes and can go to the brain to cause a stroke or go to the lungs. It was interesting when it came out. It was much easier to use, but the risks aren't worth it for most people. We don't have enough safeguards, but it is buyer beware. And one thing that I always think about for medications is if there's an older one that works, I'm going to wait around and use the older one until I've seen something being out long enough that enough people use it that we can be sure that it's a safe and effective medication. NuvaRing, the patch, and most birth control pills have estrogen and progesterone. There are a few methods that are progesterone only, and those are safer in terms of the risk of the stroke risk and blood clot risk because there's no estrogen in them. Well, the condom is the only thing that's going to protect from pregnancy as well as sexually transmitted infections. So all this other discussion about what's most effective and safest for a woman in terms of birth control doesn't talk anything about preventing chlamydia, gonorrhea, decreasing the risk of HIV, syphilis, herpes, and HPV, human papillomavirus, genital warts.
While talking about the Ortho-Evra patch and the consequences that this can have, we also touched the subject of the HPV vaccine, which can protect us of cervical cancer.
When we talk about genital warts, we talk about a subset of those viruses that affect the mucous membranes of the genital areas. But your body may learn to recognize that virus and learn to fight it off. So the initial exposure to a human papillomavirus may not initiate any sort of warts that are visible, but the person could still have that virus and transmit it to somebody else. And the Gardasil protects against type 6 and 11, which are the external genital warts, and that's nice because people don't like having, ugly growths on their body. It's not a perfect immunization. It's expensive, and it works well. There doesn't seem really to be any side effect or problem other than the fact that it's not solved the problem of eliminating cervical cancer completely, and it's expensive.
We interviewed some students to see their opinion on the Ortho-Evra patch.
There are tons of other options out there that maybe are even less favorable than the patch. Just for myself, I'm not I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily use it because I do know the consequences of it. And I know of other procedures that I can take and other pills that I can take that work more with my body and that can still have the same types of benefits.
I think the patch is under acknowledged for all the harm that it causes to women, and I don't think that doctors make it transparent all the harms that it can cause.
Well, I just have to say from my perspective that all health risks should be transparent and known to the people who take or use whatever.
I haven't used the patch, and I've just heard many things about it regarding that it can cause blood clots and possible cysts, and it's just not that good. So I've used the pill.
So that was the story about the Ortho-Evra patch. Now you guys can choose whatever is better for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Paulina. Now for this week's entertainment, we go to Lonnie and Daniel.